Welcome to Wrestler of the Week, Week 17. It pretty much works like this. If you are a professional wrestler and you made the most impact over the past 7 days, you will be named Wrestler of the Week. Every week, points will be tabulated, and whoever has the most points at the end of the calendar year will be named Male and Female Wrestler of the Year. If you want to see what I use as criteria for Wrestler of the Week, be sure to check out my Week 1 episode. I was certain this was going to be a chill Wrestler of the Week, but this week wound up becoming bonkers with major surprises, major debuts, title defenses, tournament wins, and the best fake retirement this side of Mark Henry. We are also going to do something that has never been done on Wrestler of the Week before either, and honestly, sort of time. But let's just get right into it. First, the women and some honorable mentions. Chelsea Green continues to just be an all-around entertaining personality in WWE, especially when she is paired with her tag partner Piper Niven, like she was this week on SmackDown. Thunder Rosa would rebound from her loss to Deonna Purrazzo with a win against Reina Dorada at AEW Collision. Xia Brookside would continue her winning ways in TNA, this time defeating Steph DeLander. Lola Vice and Shayna Baszler would continue their feud in NXT, leading to their NXT Underground match at Battleground. Both Michin and Kalani Jordan would advance in the NXT Women's North American Title Tournament. And Max the Impaler would defeat Jake Dumas to retain their NWA television title. And now the top 10 wrestlers of the week for the women. We have a pair of major women's world champs, AEW World Champ Timeless Toni Storm, and Ring of Honor Women's Champ Athena at number 10, who both successfully survived eliminator matches this week. Storm and Athena would defeat Viva Van. First Storm pinning her on AEW Rampage, while Athena would defeat her at Ring of Honor Television. I am not sure if that is a coincidence or if that is a clue towards the two of them eventually colliding, which would be awesome, but I am always happy to see either champion on my screen doing their thing. Storm is almost 200 days into her reign, while Athena is well into 500 days, and I am assuming at some point, especially for Athena, something is going to give. But our main women's champions in AEW Ring of Honor, Timeless Toni Storm, and Athena kick off the list this week for the women. At number 9 on the list for the women is Janai Kai, who at MLW Battle Riot VI would retain her MLW Women's World Featherweight title against a game Delmi Exo in a good if short match. This was Kai's toughest challenger, as Delmi had a counter for everything the champ was dishing out and even had Kai pinned when Selena De La Renta came out to confront Cesar Duran, who was at ringside and attempted to spray him in the face. Duran would duck though, spraying Delmi in the face instead. Kai would take advantage and drop Delmi with a harsh boot for the 1-2-3 to put away the former champ, and Kai is now 230 days into her first reign with the title, and now with Delmi out of the way, it may be time for Kai to find a new challenger. Who will step up? We will see, but for now, congrats to Janai Kai, the MLW Women's World Featherweight Champ, who is on the list for the women at number 9. We have a new Women of Wrestling champ, and that is the Beast, who defeated Abilene Maverick to gain her second run with the WOW title, and she is only the second two-time WOW champ after Terry Gold. What is even greater is that this is a title the Beast never lost, as it had to be vacated. Now she is back on top of the WOW mountain, and I am ready to see what direction this crazy little promotion is going to take next. These ladies are cray, they are silly, and I love it, and I don't care. Congrats to the Beast, your two-time WOW champion, who is on the list at number 8. Commander Nakajima from Tsukiba arrives on the list at number 7 for retaining her Sukiban World title against Crush You in a good match, and the inaugural Sukiban champ is approaching 180 days as champion, and as the new anime-inspired promotion attempts to get its footing, Nakajima is proving to be a reliable champ. Let's see what's next for her, but congratulations to Commander Nakajima for defending her Sukiban World title, and that gets her to number 7 this week on the list. We have Rio from Progress coming in at number 6 for retaining her Progress Women's title at Progress Super Strong Style 16 in a wild 4-way ladder match between her, Kanji, Lizzie Evo, and Nina Samuels that saw the women pull out all the stops, including an homage to Shelton Benjamin's Money in the Bank spot from WrestleMania 21. Eventually, Rio was able to incapacitate Samuels long enough to climb the ladder and retain her title, and this was the very definition of a show stealer and a great match that continues to prove that the women are just as effective as the men when it comes to creating memorable, spot-filled, insane matches of this type. Now that Rio has retained, she has promised some changes. I don't know what that means, but Rio is approaching 225 days as champ, and I am ready to see who is next to step up to the plate. Rio is a great talent that Progress has, and I love watching her develop, and she is still young, just at 27. Let's see what is next. But Rio, the current Progress Women's Champ, is on the list at number 6. Coming in at number 5 are the women who are vying for the WWE Women's title on SmackDown, Women's Champ Bayley, and number 1 contender Piper Niven, who had a very busy time on SmackDown this week. First, Piper and the always awesome Chelsea Green interrupted Nia Jax's Queen of the Ring coronation ceremony by beating up Bayley on the ramp, since Piper has a match with Bayley penciled in at Clash at the Castle, complete with Chelsea informing Nia that she should be the one ready to face Piper at SummerSlam. Later in the evening, Bayley would team with Naomi to face Piper and Chelsea, and this served its purpose as an appetizer of the match between Piper and Bayley, and to also showcase how much of a threat Piper is, as she just crushes bitches. I don't think the winner is in doubt between Bayley and Piper, but the atmosphere and reception Piper should get will be special and awe-inspiring, and I am sure she and Bayley plan on creating a special match for the masses. I am excited for this little feud. Bayley needs her flowers. Piper is awesome. We got the two of them feuding over Bayley's WWE's Women's title, and that gets them appearing on the list at number 5 this week. We have another tie at number 4, and it is the women who orbit Mercedes Moné's TBS title. First, Sky Blue on Dynamite made a major impact, interrupting Mercedes Moné's championship celebration and attacking her before revealing herself as Moné's post-interview attacker. This was a major reveal, especially for Blue, as someone who has been thrown into the deep end since Julia Hart's injury, and I feel she has been stepping up to the plate on her own. Her match with Moné was very good later in the night on Dynamite, and I am ready to see the continuing development of Sky Blue as a major talent. Also, after Blue lost her match against Moné, we got goddamn Stephanie Vacker, the New Japan Strong Women's Champ, appearing on the ramp, and we now have a major match for Forbidden Door setup between Moné and Vacker. Stephanie Vacker is legit one of the best female talents in the world right now, and the match between her and Moné has the potential to be absolute fire. I am ready. I love me some Stephanie Vacker, and this is currently her highest profile program, and I hope she is able to show the world how amazing she is. This week, we saw two ladies move up the totem pole when it comes to their career progress, and it revolves around Mercedes Moné's TBS title, Sky Blue, and New Japan Strong Women's Champ Stephanie Vacker, who appear on the list at number 4. Speaking of the TBS Women's title, the CEO of AEW and the AEW TBS Women's Champ, Mercedes Moné, appears on the list at number 3, and she had a major week, as Post winning the TBS title for Willow Nightingale came out for a celebration when she was attacked out of the Sky Blue, where Sky revealed herself as Moné's attacker from the past. This prompted a TBS title match between the two that I did enjoy, as it felt like both women wanted to tear each other apart. Moné was able to get the victory, but it was short-lived as Stephanie Vacker from New Japan came out on the ramp, and it looks like we have one of our major matches for Forbidden Door set up, as Moné and Vacker will meet. One thing I am surprised over: it seems like AEW turned Moné back to a babyface, which, I'll be honest, is not her natural element. But I am just a fan, and how I personally feel does not take away from her accomplishments. For defending her TBS title and being penned into one of AEW's marquee matches at Forbidden Door, TBS Women's Champ Mercedes Moné arrives on the list at number 3. The architect of the Liv Morgan Revenge Tour herself, WWE Women's World Champ Liv Morgan, appears on the list at number 2, as in the main event of Monday Night Raw, she won a big-time steel cage match against Becky Lynch, with a little unintentional help from Dominic Mysterio, and now Liv undisputedly stands atop of the women's division on Raw. Liv Morgan has emerged as one of the most compelling heels of 2024, as someone who set out to do exactly what she said she was going to and did it. She took out Rhea Ripley. She took her title. She may have taken her man, and she may be the catalyst that destroys Rhea Ripley's faction. Liv isn't cowardly. She is dangerous. And she also believes she is right. And the well-intended villain are usually the best ones in wrestling. Now that Liv has everything she wants, will she rest on her laurels, or is she already looking towards the horizon at her next challenger? What I'm interested in is, where does Dom fit into all of this? Because he does somewhere. But this was a great week for Ms. Oblivion, the current reigning WWE Women's World Champ, Liv Morgan, who appears at number 2. And the female wrestler of the week for week 17 is the Juggernaut bitch, the current reigning and dominant TNA Knockouts champ Jordynne Grace, who shocked the world with her appearance on NXT, challenging Roxanne Perez for her NXT Women's title, and now we have a monster matchup going into NXT Battleground. Grace got an amazing reception, those holy shit chants were genuine, and while AEW has a pay-per-view called it, this feels like a real forbidden door has been crossed. WWE, especially in the modern era, rarely works with other promotions and has never worked with such a high-profile promotion like TNA in decades. Not since WWF and ECW's talent exchanges and the ECW Invasion episode of Raw. But back to Grace. I mentioned just last week the current Knockouts champ has an aura around her that is hard to ignore, and she was starting to feel like a big fish in a small pond. Well, here is the natural response to that. Whoever pulled the strings to make this happen deserves a raise, and Grace appearing in NXT only opens the doors for a whole lot of other possibilities. AJ Styles in the TNA Hall of Fame? A return to TNA for Drew McIntyre or LA Knight? A big sweaty man meat match between Moose and Obafemi? Oh man, take all of my money. All of this just because of Jordynne Grace making a major play for the NXT Women's title. And that match between her and Roxy has the potential to steal the show. I am sure they are definitely going to try, but man, welcome to NXT Jordan Grace. Let's get this NXT TNA cross promotion kicking off in the best way. The TNA Knockouts champ, the juggernaut Jordan Grace, is our Week 17 female wrestler of the week. And now to the men and some honorable mentions. Star Black successfully defended his Mexican national heavyweight title versus Stuka Jr. at CMLL Martes del Glamour. I wouldn't necessarily list an authority figure, but this is an exception as this is more of an angle. But Christopher Daniels was named the AEW intern GM. I am interested in this three-way feud between Braun Breaker, WWE Speed Champ Ricochet, and Ilya Dragunov. Ricochet and Ilya may have to team up to stop the apparently unstoppable Breaker. I have no idea where this is going, but I love it. Congratulations to Axel Tischer, who won the Progress Atlas title against Yoshima at Progress Super Strong Style 16. Moose and Matt Hardy ended TNA Impact on a major note, with Moose wrapping Hardy's neck against a chair and ramming him into a garage door to continue their world title feud. John Wayne Murdoch defeated Yuki Ishikawa to win the Tournament of Survival 9 deathmatch. LA Knight appeared on SmackDown and made waves by calling out US champ Logan Paul, perhaps opening the door for a big match a lot of people have been anticipating. Perhaps for SummerSlam? Stingray from Cobra Kai himself, Paul fucking Walter Hauser, Emmy Award-winning actor, had an amazing showing in the MLW Battle Riot match, eliminating 3 competitors before getting dumped by Sami Callihan. The fact that at 37 years old, in the middle of a pretty successful and critically acclaimed acting career, Hauser is still out there and performing because he just loves pro wrestling is inspiring. This is like the Negaverse version of Logan Paul, someone who is a total outsider to the business, but whose passion and larger-than-life persona propels them to success. Hauser is a riot. As a wrestler, and I just want to see more of him. Everything happening with the Bloodline 2.0 is cooking, with this week Kevin Owens and the Street Profits finding themselves in the crosshairs and Paul Heyman cutting just another great promo. When Roman Reigns returns, it will be big. I said I was going to do something crazy, and for the first time ever, we have a talent showing up on both the men's and women's list. Appearing again, this time for the men, is the NWA TV title holder Max the Impaler for defending their title on NWA Power. Since Max identifies as non-binary, it only made sense to include them on both lists. I also want to give a shout out to Max the Impaler themselves for the great brief conversation we had, and I am so grateful, especially this month, to have the opportunity to chat. Thank you. And now, the top 10 wrestlers of the week for the men. Kicking off the list for the men is Judgment Day stablemate Dominic Mysterio, who continues to find himself playing into the biggest women's angle on Raw, which is the Liv Morgan Revenge Tour. That is officially on the road now that she is WWE Women's World Champ. In the main event of Raw, Morgan faced Becky Lynch in a steel cage match, and to say chaos ensued at the ending would be an understatement, with nearly all members of Judgment Day appearing and Dominic slamming the cage door into Becky, allowing Liv to win the match. Did he do it intentionally? Is Liv now his mommy? If that show-stopping kiss between him and Liv implied anything, then it certainly is possible. Dom has been fucking up in all the best ways, and it is just another crack in the armor of the Judgment Day in Rhea Ripley's absence. The pop from Mommy not only aiming to destroy Liv, but to obliterate Dom is going to be deafening. But man, Dom, you are despicable in a way that would make your Uncle Eddie proud. Take your flowers this week. Dominic Mysterio arrives on the list at number 10. We got all those orbiting Sami Zayn and his Intercontinental title, the champ himself, Alpha Academy members Chad Gable and Otis, and Big Bronson Reed on the list at number 9. And their continuing storyline played out in a big way on Monday Night Raw. During a match between Otis and Big Bronson Reed, Gable's obsession with Otis becoming a more serious in-ring competitor came back to bite his Alpha Academy stablemate, as Gable would continue to prevent Otis to perform a caterpillar multiple times during the match. This caused Reed to hit a wicked super kick and the tsunami for the win. As punishment post-match, Gable had Otis turn towards the ropes so Gable could whip him with his belt. Maxine and Sami Zayn would intervene to stop Gable, but it would cost Zayn as Gable would attack him. The simmer for this build towards Otis eventually turning on his abusive leader is brilliant. Every week this storyline escalates, but what is great is that it still revolves around the Intercontinental title, with Zayn and even Bronson Reed effortlessly being interwoven in. The writing for this angle has some layers and they continue to build, and I love it. When Otis snaps on Gable, the roof will explode. But what is the end game? Can Zayn continue to survive, or as people get added to the title hunt, and I am, including Otis, because he is integral to this angle? Will it become too much for Zayn to overcome? Let's just go. I am enjoying this angle. It is true. It's damn true. The participants of the WWE Intercontinental title feud, including Otis, are at the list at number 9. We have a tie at number 8, and that is for the two main champions in AEW World Champ Swerve Strickland and IWGP Champ Jon Moxley, who continue to show why they are the top dogs in the promotion. On Dynamite, Swerve would defeat Killswitch in a good non-title match, effectively putting the patriarchy behind him, and now he has a bro-sized challenger in Will Ospreay at Forbidden Door. And man, does this match have the potential to cook. On the same show, Moxley defeated Rocky Romero in an eliminator match that saw some very good action to showcase Mox as he sprints towards his match against Evil at New Japan Dominion in a lumberjack death match. Even if they haven't been positioned as the main program in AEW, let's be clear, the Elite is the number one angle in the promotion. Swerve and Mox continue to prove their worth as fighting champions, taking on all comers and performing at a high level. I have to say this, I believe it is a matter of time before Swerve or Mox end up in the Elite's orbit, whether it's the connection between Mox and BCC stablemate Bryan Danielson, who has been a thorn in the Elite's side, or even the New Japan connection. And if the Elite plans to complete a full takeover of AEW, someone will have to eventually challenge for the AEW World title. It's coming, people. Buckle up. But this isn't about the Elite. This is about AEW Elite champions, Swerve Strickland and Jon Moxley, who both had successful weeks in the ring, and that lands them on the list at number 8. At number 7 is the reigning and defending MLW World Heavyweight Champ Satoshi Kojima, who at MLW Battle Riot VI retained his title against Tom Lawler, who came out with all sorts of cray weaponry that the official pulled out from Lawler's gear. But even without the weapons, Lawler did exemplify his talent as a former MLW champ as the match went back and forth with strikes and submissions. It took 2 lariatos to take Lawler down, and we may be barreling towards Kojima and the winner of the MLW Battle Riot match. Kojima has been champ for 120 days now since defeating Alex Kane, and he has been a good champ, but Destiny may be about to literally wrestle away that spanking brand new title belt away from him. Let's see what the future holds, but congratulations to Satoshi Kojima for retaining his MLW World Heavyweight title, and that gets him to number 7 this week. We got the major players revolving around the WWE World Heavyweight title, champ Damian Priest, current number 1 contender Drew McIntyre, and King of the Ring Gunther, who will face the winner of Priest and Drew's Clash of the Castle matchup at SummerSlam. The three had a very good back and forth promo with Ludwig Kaiser introducing Gunther as King of the Ring, but the Imperium duo was interrupted by the Judgment Day, specifically Damian Priest, who referenced the controversial finish of the King of the Ring final match between Gunther and Randy Orton. This brought out Drew McIntyre, who provided the world with a well-needed geography lesson about where Scotland is located and how he is going to win the World Heavyweight Championship because Judgment Day has been a mess since Rhea Ripley got injured. Facts. This was a great promo segment that highlighted all three parties, with Priest and Drew's war of words propelling them towards Clash of the Castle, but really, what does the winner of that match get? Gunther? Perhaps the winner is really the loser. But I just had a great time with this segment. I love all three here, and I just had a thought. Is it possible for SummerSlam to be a triple threat? Just spitballing. Let's see what these three have planned for us in the future. The participants of the World Heavyweight title feud, champ Damian Priest, number 1 contender Drew McIntyre, and the King General Gunther all land at number 6. We got Matt Riddle from MLW coming in at number 5 for winning the MLW Battle Riot Battle Royal match, finally eliminating Sami Callihan to win. This was a crazy affair that lasted nearly an hour, with the final 4 being Riddle, Callihan, Davey Boy Smith Jr., and Timothy Thatcher. The finish had all 4 men tumble over the top rope before Thatcher and Smith would eliminate each other, while Riddle held onto the top rope, sending Callihan to the floor. As a result, Riddle has now earned a future MLW World Championship title match against Satoshi Kojima, and for me, it feels like a matter of when Riddle will be crowned MLW World Champ, as he is the promotion's highest profile star on the roster. The Matt Riddle Independent Tour continues, and with him winning the MLW Battle Riot match, this lands Matt Riddle on the list at number 5. AJ Styles arrives on the list at number 4, and that is for the amazing segment he led on this past week's SmackDown. It was advertised that AJ had an announcement to make, and a lot speculated that perhaps a retirement speech could be in order. Well, AJ came out in a pimping pastel blue suit, which should have been our first clue, and cut a very good, heartfelt promo about his career with the OC in tow in the ring. AJ mentioned how great it was to be at his son's graduation, and how he knew at that moment he knew what he had to do. He called out WWE champ Cody Rhodes to the ring and informed him that even though SmackDown was the house AJ Styles built, he was handing the keys to Cody. And if anyone knew about the infamous Mark Henry retirement promo 11 years ago against John Cena, they saw what was about to happen coming a mile away, as AJ straight up blindsided Cody and beat the holy hell out of him, complete with a Styles clash from the steel steps to the floor. Clearly, AJ Styles isn't done.
You think it's that easy? I got a lot left in the tank.
And man, this was a fire segment. AJ had the crowd eating out of his hand, and now AJ, who was told he has to go to the back of the line to challenge for the WWE title, has a direct line for a shot, as Cody is probably going to want revenge for being betrayed. But again, he should have seen it coming. AJ is a great wrestler, a great heel, and at this stage of his career, as someone who has been consistently great since 2002, I think it's safe to say he may be one of the greatest workers and pro wrestlers of all time. AJ Styles has just added another great memorable moment in a career full of them, and that lands him at number 4 this week. Luke Jacobs comes in at number 3 for winning the Progress Super Strong Style 16 tournament. Jacobs would defeat Ricky Knight Jr. for the win, and even though once Jacobs was announced for the tournament, the winner didn't seem to be much in doubt, but Jacobs still performed at a high caliber and made the most out of his tournament matches. The final saw the two former Progress Atlas champs in a brutal affair that saw the fans root for RKJ, but Jacobs pulled out all the stops to win, and Jacobs still has not lost a tournament in Progress, which is wild to think about. And with this win, Jacobs will now challenge for the Progress World title against champ Kid Lycos at the Devil on My Shoulder Chapter 169. What will give? Are we on the road towards a new Progress champ? Time will tell, but for now, congratulations to Luke Jacobs, winner of the Progress Super Strong Style 16 tournament and the number 3 male wrestler of the week. Will Ospreay from AEW comes in wrestler of the week at number 2, and he had an insane week. First, on AEW Dynamite, Ospreay shockingly won a number 1 contendership Forbidden Door Casino Gauntlet match, besting Claudia Castagnoli, Heshirio, Jay White, Leo Rush, Mystico, Orange Cassidy, Pat, and Shota Umino, and now Ospreay has a direct shot at Swerve Strickland's AEW World Heavyweight title at AEW Forbidden Door. Then on Collision, Ospreay successfully defended his AEW International title against Kyle O'Reilly in a really good match. Ospreay has clearly been positioned to be one of AEW's major stars, winning a title very quickly into his AEW run, and now he has been thrust into the world title picture, and the match with Swerve promises to be a face melter. Now, I will say this on a personal level. I believe it is way too early to have a match of this caliber. Swerve and Ospreay are two of AEW's biggest stars and champs, and really should be staying away from each other, as neither can afford a loss so soon into either of their title reigns, and I don't see Forbidden Door ending on some no contest, so one of these men are going to take a pinfall loss, which, yeah, I don't agree with. But there is a degree of unpredictability with the match, and again, it's gonna be good. I don't know where AEW is going with them, if Ospreay plans to become a belt collector or what, but we are here and we might as well enjoy the ride. Will Ospreay, both the AEW International Champ and number 1 contender to the AEW World title, finds himself in the number 2 spot. And the wrestler of the week for week 17 is the All Ego one, All Ego Ethan Page, who made his absolutely shocking debut on NXT during its main event segment and took out NXT champ Trick Williams to a major reaction. I am going to be honest. The moment I heard Page was no longer with AEW, I said NXT would be idiots not to swoop in and sign him. Page is a great talent who is still young, but already has a handle on some of the little things that makes him a larger-than-life character. Page has gained a decent following from his time working on the Canadian independent scene, AEW, and Ring of Honor, and his hard work seems to be paying off, as appearing in NXT will be his highest profile gig, and the fact that immediately he has been plugged into the NXT title hunt upon arrival shows how much faith Shawn Michaels and the NXT brass has in Page from the jump. To me, this is a game-changing signing. NXT is the exact place for Page to sharpen his skills to prepare him for the main roster, because he will get there eventually, while NXT gains a major name as they continue to only grow. Also, Page and Trick will be a banger of a match when they meet, but there are so many potential matchups Ethan Page can have with the NXT roster, and I am salivating over them. All ego, Ethan Page to me made the biggest impact this week with his great debut on NXT, and that gives him the title of Male Wrestler of the Week for Week 17. And here are the weekly standings for the men and the women. Like I said, this was just a major week with so much going on. Let's just go into next week and see what else happens in this crazy world of professional wrestling that we all love. What did you think of my picks for Wrestler of the Week? Do you agree or disagree? Share your thoughts, leave your comments, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to hit that bell icon so you can get notifications as well. Thanks a lot, everyone. Take care.